Thank you for coming. I think you all know there are texts available for today's teaching. It's a 2-day teaching. And I'd like to introduce Dustin, who is here in person, not via Skype this year, which is really wonderful. And finally, I'd like to very much welcome Rinpoche. Rinpoche, thank you for coming today. Thank you.
Say good morning and welcome everyone here today.
Tene 토망나랑 소들은 춘친이 그 물라 아니 참아 그 구동대 다 삼성 충조 샘지 tene chute ne chini mo shos.
And so, as we commonly say, before we engage in any virtue of body, speech, and mind, whether it is in explaining the Dharma or listening to the Dharma or in any virtuous practice that we may engage in, it's very important that before we engage in that Dharma practice or that virtuous practice that we develop the proper and correct attitude or motivation for that practice. And so here in this practice of giving and receiving Dharma teachings, before we begin this, we need to generate that proper motivation of the supreme mind of bodhicitta.
죽은 주축대 시에나시는 가자네 주소피 손시라 다이나 아니 다 죽은 주축대 그래서 지까지 버데 담아 다 사치 젠든 두성가 나네 대제비 하전 그때네 사보 개침보 자침보 되는 말에 되는데 되네 당아 따오겠지 시야야 요 말에 배 용대 하정가 담아서모 저는 시바이는 양 아니 지게 지 포반라고 지금 차용을 들이 담아서 포바 포치토 그래서는 지든지 심지 사고도 송거들 전에 도마 또베 다tor 전에 투지 이tor 통kin기 라마티 그때는 비세 거는 차용을 니바리 다 숨바이나 아니지 시 누바인바이나요 다자 시 자야 그 담아요 말이지 그러면서 바기지 가지 다 센텐 그 지바기 다 담아 사모 진리를 차요 되는지 시 가보리 시나요 아니지 시 누가보리 아니 시 누바인바이나요 아니 시 자와 그때지 담아 차요 되는데 다 가장 사실 물론데 제 슈나시 테니스 드랑한서 딜레른데 사기 환함데 딜레 슈아이니스.
And so today the teaching that I'm going to be offering you is the teaching on the aspiration of Mahamudra. And at first you all had asked me to teach pointing out the Dharmakaya, and but that teaching is a extremely profound teaching of the Kagyu. It is something which is very precious, very profound, and is one of the most important teachings in this Kagyu lineage. And so I wouldn't even know how to give you that teaching. And even if I knew how, I don't have the power to really transmit that to you, because in order to be able to be a person who can give that actual authentic teaching and transmission, first you have to have liberated your own mind stream so that you can liberate others through your compassionate activity. So I don't even have that power. And even if I did have that power, this is also a teaching that shouldn't be given out easily. It's not something that should just be kind of advertised and thrown out there very casually. It's a teaching which is very profound, very precious, and should be kind of guarded or should not be given out easily. And so I don't even know how to teach that teaching. Even if I did know, I don't have the power to transmit it to you. And even if I had that power, it's not something that should be given freely. And so, for those reasons, I said that I think it would be better, and why don't I give a teaching on the Mahamudra aspiration prayer. And so today I'm going to offer you these teachings on the aspiration of Mahamudra.
다이나 이제 사키 몰람데 저당 기지 몰람자 많이 바게 되는 사자 침묵이 남자를 받자 상황이 아니 되는 요도에 봐인 거래. 근데 이제 이메인데 어서진데 가지반로 이제 이메이나요. 이제 사키 그 몰람기 된지 사자 침묵을 남지 좀봐. 다 차상지 심마다 봐인 바이나요. 이 파체지 마시나 탐메 바리시나 아니 수두치진 중에 그때는 송여래 아니 네 시바 이메이나 근데 사자 제목에 다 람거를 차 상황지 롭장 그때 시터야지 당 근데 때는 문틀 냥즈 나와 이메이나 근데 사자 제목에 또 받아 소양 줄에 제 아니 또가 줄이 지와 소야 아니 공도 아니 야 본진은 야게 동 토바게 아니 랑거를 맞춰 참아지 여바리는데 내가 하지 않기 때문에 좀 사고 같이 뭐 알아서 아니 지금 마시는 탑차들 받지 되게 차요.
But this is not just a common type of aspirational prayer. This is a prayer of the Mahamudra which contains all of the stages of the path of Mahamudra. And so if you are a practitioner of the Kagyupa lineage, then Situ Chugijungne, who wrote a commentary to this text, says that by knowing just this prayer and knowing the contents of this prayer, you will at least have a basic or general knowledge of the entire stages of the path of the Mahamudra. And without knowing that, you have no way of really becoming like an authentic practitioner. And by knowing these general stages of the path through this teaching, then you will have that understanding, and that can gradually lead you to having an authentic realization of the Mahamudra, and to, once you have had that realization, to increase the strength or power of that realization.
근데 던 남주에 말한 속에다 사치 말함도 아니 근데 샹동 능된 개념 뭐여리 근데 이제 다티 샹동 동나는 좀 하나 잡아가 갑라 근데 저기 저자가 동ተ서야 시에다 하게 끼치 뭐래 가래서는 말한 속은도 반도 해여리시나 던단선데 주바 책고 쓰는 냥네 그런 받아서 되는 만 던바 책고네 되는 에네티 책 동대 성당 대를 군디야 어찌 딘디 탈만지 그랬디나 아니 말한 좀 던반도 해여리 딘디지 이제 단 던반도한테서 남도 던다대 하마오베 마이나 되는 것을 지금 보라 내조기 아그 내조가 만했던 바나지시 즉 담비지 요리 딘디 차야라 이 가이리 딘디 마이드 이제 대서 저소만 아니 즉 즉지 던디 영토야 아니 즉디 던다져서 연럽사 하고야도 아주 비치 차샤.
And so there are many people who recite the aspiration of Mahamudra, and it's really important that we understand actually what is being expressed by the words of this aspirational prayer. And the point of reciting the prayer is to, when we recite those words, to bring about the meaning through, they say that the words are the key to the authentic meaning of the prayer. And so when we have that gateway of the words, we can get to the meaning, and then through that meaning, we can apply that meaning into our meditation. And so we need to be able to know the meaning so that when we're reciting the text, we're bringing that meaning to mind. And that is the method. This is a method by which we can kind of remind ourselves or bring about that meaning through reciting the text. And if we don't know what we're saying, if we don't actually know the meaning of the text as we recite it, then it's like a proverb in Tibetan that we're just like the parrot who's parroting the words of the Mani mantra. And so we need to be able to, as we recite the words, have those words actually be triggers to bring up that meaning in our minds as we're reciting.
내가 많이 쓰는 가르치는 저 산에서 돼서 많이 러셔 그러와. 많이 러셔데 다 좀 많이 동서데 많이 쫄용 그래. 얘는 그 많이 그 단다 가시요. 뭐다 된다고 차는 거 말이에요.
And so when we say that it's like a parrot reciting the mantra or the Mani mantra, you can teach a parrot to say a mantra, and later you can tell it to say the mantra and it will recite the mantra, but it doesn't know the meaning. And so we should not become like that when we're reciting prayers.
When this sachi monan rawti bayana that the monan ki chekta so ka tanda de yabo je ha ko na tene chigi tandi se na tene ma ke te to sangani je ter gom jap sam ta ma bayana te monan di charche lo ba ka ka sa je chem mo ka lam je dam ba cha cham de na so lo mo na tende jumdar ne tene nyame thabe ya de ᱛᱟᱛᱤ ᱛᱟᱱᱫᱟ ᱢᱟᱣ ᱵᱮᱭᱢᱟᱭᱱᱟ ᱛᱟ ᱪᱷᱟᱣᱡᱤ ᱢᱟᱢᱟᱱ ᱡᱚᱞᱚ ᱪᱷᱟᱫᱟ ᱯᱮᱭᱩ ᱭᱚᱡᱮᱫᱮ ᱛᱮᱱᱟ ᱯᱮᱭᱩ ᱭᱚᱡᱮᱫᱮ ᱭᱮᱱᱟ ᱪᱤᱛᱟ ᱢᱟᱱᱮ ᱥᱚᱡᱚᱠᱭᱟ ᱪᱩᱠ ᱧᱟᱢᱱᱤᱝ ᱛᱟᱱᱮ ᱛᱮᱱᱩᱥᱤ ᱮᱱᱫᱩ ᱛᱟᱱᱮ ᱪᱷᱟᱫᱟ ᱪᱤ 소속 심리가 제 펜토스에 가보지 차고요.
And so if we know the meaning of these words for example, for the aspiration of Mahamudra, and by reciting those words, then we are bringing to mind the meaning of those words. So our mind will be reciting the words, or our mouth will be reciting the words, and our minds will be contemplating their meaning and meditating on their meaning. So even just in one time of reciting the Aspiration Mahamudra, our minds can go through all the stages of practice of Mahamudra in just one time reciting the prayer. But if we don't know the meaning of those words, if we don't understand the meaning of the prayer, then there must be some benefit to merely reciting the prayer. But when we're speaking of actual practice and gaining an actual benefit to your mind in terms of practice, just reciting the words, it would be very difficult to say that it would be beneficial to your mind to just recite the words without knowing the meaning.
Then that the young chebala ane thoma munro ke rambatang ane part of muji tan joki that in the subject number some say and that tambo ane tenju bin sendo yimbare de ane ngedun saja chimbo manam sungare.
And so when we're explaining texts such as these, we have three sections. We have an introduction, we have the main body of the text, and then we have a conclusion. And here, for the introductory explanation, we talk about the actual title of the text. And the title of the text is the Aspiration of the Mahamudra of Definitive Meaning.
That the midon sedukari la sumiyori sinani chutamje ka nelo nelo Tarto patin babar seba ki yong de la midong ki yong se ya ani je de chutam je ne lo tarto pa ti tong de la ani ta ta midong sin na ten wishe ten de ta saje chembo se ya de ani ta chutam je ne lo tarto pa ani ten babar seba ki yong dang ani ten je cha ande ti cha ne midong.
And so what is meant by the word definitive meaning? So definitive meaning means it means that it is the ultimate way of abiding or the ultimate nature of all phenomena, and this is a text which shows that ultimate nature or true nature, final nature of all phenomena. And so this text of the Mahamudra then is a text which explains the definitive meaning, that is, it explains the true nature of all phenomena.
Tagana jinki danga zo nangbala ane ji thwa ka ramba mambu ji song yori de ande ta saja sembu se ate ane thwa thamji kzim ane ka ju chothak jamso ki nyamji ane ta ranzai pawu yongji laso dak sewon bonji nyingcha ota tini pe dama samuji chaba ke ti chane.
And then there are many different stages of the path, and the Mahamudra is said to be the pinnacle, the highest vehicle of practice, or the ultimate kind of level or stage of practice. As well, it's said to be really the primary or the heart of all of the accomplished masters of the Kagyu lineage, and it is really the kind of heart power or the energy of all of the Dakas and Dakinis.
That nidong tato was said, Jadang ki nelo dong tin babar sevalata, and Jumbo Mongo, they took a hammock in it, chutam you can nelo the tin and bavi. The yena and it tarsimba, tartoba, then be tin about babar sevatela, then nidong tato was in the tenebus of you, then the nidong say at the tinny.
And again, with this word definitive meaning, we're speaking of really the ultimate or final meaning. And what's meant by that is that there are many different, texts and traditions, and they are always confirming what they call to be reality or the truth. But this is kind of the ultimate or final level of explanation of what the ultimate reality is. And so that's why it's referred to as, there are many kind of different ways of explaining what we call interpretable or provisional texts or ultimate texts or ultimate truth or provisional truth. And here we're speaking of the final or highest level, the most ultimate level of what we call the definitive meaning or definitive truth.
추탐제가 내도 탁톡바데 아니 샘전내로 차다 여바이 말에 다 사자 침묵이 저저 쪼데 아니 저 샘전내로 어다 대송이요 티찬네 아니 지금 이동 탁톡바 선들이 소셔.
And then similarly, when we're speaking of what the ultimate reality or the ultimate truth is, then that is the true nature of mind. And the main object which is explained within the Mahamudra is that true object of mind, and that's another reason why we can say this is a text of definitive meaning.
Taneda saja chimbo seya tela ane ta te ku jaji tela pe ku gone ane saja chimbo ki ta ti dada ma chi ya tang ane ti ku tan tong ku gone ane saja chimbo ku ma ane ji dashi ba ni ya ba imare.
And there are two ways of explaining the word Mahamudra. One is by way of examples, and one is by way of explaining the actual meaning of those words.
Tate legger ke da tate Mahamudra ndo tate ane chega gonne tindi pe gonne tindi dongde sheba imba yena tene saja seya te perna jarbu ki mbang ka nang chaba ka ma tise ta bana ti ta bana
Oh,
ta ba de tise da ta ba yena jarbu chi ka mbang ji la ka nang tise ta ba yena mbang de so ka jarbu ka la ane mande ba de imba de perna tangsan kita jaka kun tham ro re
No.
te jaka kun tham de jaka kun mam chama tin tham na de yo o ta na yin ki ane chu tham je ne lo samutung ba ni tele mande ba yin ba yin de ane ji ti chane ane saja sin da pe go ne be ten be so yo de te chen bo se ya de ta chu tham je lo ba chap de ba ane sam je ne lo tung ba ni de chu tham je lo chap de ba chane tene saja chen bo si o ta ten be so yo.
And so when we talk about the Sanskrit word Mahamudra, so the mudra there, when we talk about it, the explanation of this word by way of an example, then they say it's like the stamp of a king. And when the king has, sealed or stamped some kind of document, it's like sealing it into law. And then all of the, the members of that king's kingdom are then kind of held by or bound by that command. And so it's just like these days, it would be like the laws of a nation, that everyone is kind of held by or lives within those laws. And so what that signifies then, as an example, is that all phenomena, no phenomena is outside of this true reality of emptiness. And so then when we say Mahamudra, the great seal, then that greatness means that pervades, that true nature pervades to everything. It pervades to all phenomena.
Tende da pela ane ji gyarbu ka da saja dele ane bang thamji mandawa na yin tene chu thamji kne lo seni osa saja chembo de chu thamje le de chu thamje dele mande ba yin ba yin de ti chane de saja chembo sena de so yo.
And so just as all of the king's subjects are bound by and do not live outside of the king's command and the king's kind of seal or stamp of approval, all phenomena exist within that true nature, which is that luminous nature of mind, and nothing is outside of that.
Tati saja chembo de ta de chek drabjo ro ta tonjor se ba yin ba yin na tene sa na tungbi shi de jan de le mande ba o se sa se ya de ani ti tungba ke yi tene sa se ya de ja se ya de ani chu tam je de le mande ba yin ba yin de tene saja se so yo de song de ta ta dan de saja chembo se yin de ma rang so ke sem je ne lok de la ani ti sa this samje ne lok de ani konde ke chu tam je la chap de ba ani konde ke chu tam je de le mande ba yin de tene ani saja chembo se so yo.
And so that is an explanation of the words by example. And now just the meaning of that is, when we talk about the meaning then, we break down the words Mahamudra. The Tibetan words for Mahamudra, or Cha-ya, is that is mudra. So the first word, Cha, refers to the empty primordial wisdom, which is the true nature of mind. And Ja, the second word, Cha-ja, is that nothing, no phenomena of samsara or nirvana goes outside of that or is beyond that true nature of mind or that empty primordial wisdom. And so when we say Mahamudra, what we mean is that that true nature of mind, which is that empty primordial wisdom, pervades to all phenomena of samsara and nirvana, and none of those phenomena are outside of or go beyond that empty primordial wisdom.
Then, the Karesena, Chutamji, Sentinel, the Mandeba in Barisina, Sentinel, Samotumani, Teni, Chutamji, Chuni in Baris. The Chuni take in the Chudin, Chutamji, the Chapdeva in Bayinde, then the Mandeba in Baris.
And why is it that none of these phenomena are beyond or are outside of that profound empty nature? And the reason is because that nature is the nature of those phenomena themselves. So those phenomena, the nature of those things themselves is that profound emptiness. And that's why they can never go beyond that nature, because it is their own very nature.
Then, Mulam sees someone do, Tananzochi, the Suzo can Durbak Tong, Kari Nayan, Teji and the Durbak Solan the Valo, then dinner and Mulam sit in the Bishi and do so Jena, Tananjumans with praise and they take it and that in Johoyava. That's so Jena young, Mulan said that Tanja to the Kogo. I am so good Druzak Chuchi, the Drubian Samba community. So can Dumbaki, Drubandabaka Tumte, Drubaka Tamjawa Chilla, and it Manams in the television. Then they turn this Sajachimu Manando Mayana, Sajachimuka Tom, Teni, and it ram, Din and the Song Shabaka Tumte, Monadjan, Titum Teta Tamji, Nyanza Lembandabaki, and it so which is Tamjado, a Muyundo, and it ten Manams in the television.
And then for the word, the aspiration in the title, aspiration usually refers to praying for something that you wish for. So you have something that you desire or that you wish for, and you kind of pray for that to come true. And so from one side, we can just kind of understand that as prayer, just the word prayer that we generally understand. From another side, when we're talking about aspiration here, what we're talking about is making some kind of personal commitment. And what's meant by that is that when you have this thing that you're wishing for, you're also kind of, when you recite the prayer, you're making kind of commitment to say, I'm going to accomplish that thing. So for example, here, when we're talking about the prayer of Mahamudra, then we're aspiring to to understand or to practice the meaning of Mahamudra, but also we are taking that kind of as our ambition, as our goal, and kind of committing ourselves towards that goal. And so now we have the expression of homage. And so that is said at the beginning of the text. It says Namo Guru, and that refers to homage to my master, homage to the Guru.
Monam Drupa Tin, Monam Pombu Doji, Tate Goya, the Tena, and Monam Jura City Chagaya, Tamuchi, Monajasaki, Pombu, Sogishin, Titona, then Sambatapan, Monajago is.
And so we talked about these three sections of the prayer. So we have some kind of preliminaries or introductory remarks, introduction to the prayer or preliminaries to the prayer, the actual prayer, and then the conclusion of the prayer. And so if we want to make an aspiration, we need someone who is kind of a witness to our making of that aspiration. And so at the beginning, for our preliminaries or joining into that prayer, we first should visualize or imagine that that field of accumulation or that refuge field is in front of us, serving as the witness to our making of this aspiration.
Tatela Lamananda Yadam Jungola subject to Jarva Setanti, Dada Zergom, Dada Manana, Jin Druban, Tunjur Sindelo, Sinamzo, somebody.
And so that is expressed here where it says, Gurus, Yidams of all mandalas, and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and 3 times, kindly consider me, support and bless the fulfillment of my aspirations.
Then the Tamaranzo Jim Mola Jabakala, then Mola Drobakati, then Mola Drobaka Pombu Dovola, Dungeon Napala, the Mudang. That Dojin Chang, Tada Martok Bartan, Muda, Jubak Lama. Tanetana Yinki, and it Yadam Jiki Hatso. Then I Yinki and it is subject on the Juk Devaki, Jarva Sanji, says Sanchu Sambatan, and then Yeran the Popugende. What a ten Dungeon Napala, Samatan, Gomne, then Dala, Toksewa Chembuko, Gomne, the Dagatan Manakare, Jetaba in my inayang. Timona de Datambi, Jetawajan and Drobar, and the Lama Jaro said that she number Namji, Cindy Laptonzo, Lavan Zeto Sur Sina, the Yachi, Monan Drobak, Pombo the Sora Daba in Mother.
And so when we are going to make such an aspiration, we need a support or a witness to that aspiration. And so as the witnesses, we have both our direct and lineage lamas coming all the way from Vajradhara down to our own guru, our own teachers, and as well as all of the lineage lamas, the Yidam deities of the 4 classes of Tantra, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, all of the Arya Sangha of the hearers and the solitary realizers. And we visualize and meditate that they are all in the space in front of us and that they see us all with great love and care. And that we pray to them to help us to fulfill our aspirations just as we make them. And so
Gergewa Zozan Movata, Sebrat Monanda Banisi Tiliori, Gergewa Zozan Movada, then is Sebrat Monada Basi, that's subject Nikanani, that Tambo de Ris. Zozan Mova, Zobus Hanji Koban. Then Sebrat said Monada Bas, Chetanga gave a Zobus Hanji Koban Mova, then is Sebrat, they started to Soso Monam Daviaro.
And so I'm following the topical outline for explaining this text, which is set forth by Situ Chugichungne, the Situ Rinpoche, and in his text. And so in that outline, first we have generally dedicating to complete enlightenment, and then the next section, which will be in particular so first is the general kind of prayer or dedication to the complete enlightenment of everyone, and second is individual or particular aspirations. So these are two sections of the prayer. So the first reads, streams of virtue unsullied by threefold fixation are born on the snow-covered mountain. Of the pure intentions and actions of myself and all innumerable beings, may they flow into the ocean of the Buddha's 4 kayas. And so first we should think of who is it who's actually making this prayer. And so that's oneself, right? Ourselves. And so, but we are practicing as a Mahayana practitioner, we should be practicing for all sentient beings. And so in that instance then, we should be imagining that we are making that prayer together with all sentient beings. And then it says, well, what is it that we are dedicating? What are these virtues that we are dedicating? And it says that they are streams of virtue unsullied by threefold fixation of the pure intentions and actions of myself and innumerable sentient beings. And so the pure intentions and actions then are pure because they are not motivated by these afflictive emotions of attachment, aversion, ignorance, jealousy, or pride, nor of the three non-virtuous minds that are spoken of in terms of the 10 virtues and non-virtues of harmful intention, covetousness, or wrong view, but are rather motivated by positive or wholesome intentions of love, compassion, faith, and devotion. So Arya Nagarjuna has said that anything that comes from, or any action that comes from attachment, aversion, and ignorance is non-virtuous. And so what is it upon what is it that we designate something to be virtuous or non-virtuous, and that we apply that according to the mind which motivated it, or according to that state of mind. And so if something is motivated by a non-virtuous mind, a mind of attachment, aversion, or ignorance, then that is non-virtuous, and from that non-virtue will come suffering and the experiences of the lower realms. And if the opposite is true, if something is coming from or motivated by a positive or a wholesome intention that being love, compassion, bodhicitta, faith, or devotion, then anything that comes from that is a virtue. And so Arya Nagarjuna continues in his text. He says something that comes from a non-attachment, non-hatred, or non-ignorance, anything that comes from that is virtue. From that virtue comes happiness and the higher realms of rebirth.
luji magewade jorwa maraba yimare ta jorwa ta number ta ba so de do na tene na ki che dembala nawa shedorla nawa ani semji jin la pemba ta ta na so ba tang tene luji ji soju pawa jimba tongwa chachon songwa wata ta so lunga gewa ani lunga ki jorwa number ta ba le tene yimare tene je indi ti any sendam lunga ki any samba the jorwa number tawa ko koina lang yongwa ki gewa wata te any ngal so moza ke gesari.
And so then when we talk about the actual actions as opposed to merely the intentions, so the actions then are the pure actions then are pure actions of body and speech, and so those are virtuous actions of body and speech, and impure actions would be impure actions of body and speech. So the impure actions of speech, for example, are lying, speaking ill of others, harsh speech, useless kind of gossip, and so forth. And those of body then are killing, sexual misconduct, taking what's not given, and so on. And so the opposites of those then are, helpful speech, peaceful speech, truthful speech, abandoning killing, keeping your discipline, abandoning stealing, and so forth. Those are all positive or pure actions. And so all of these pure intentions as well as pure actions of body and speech are all virtues, and those are the roots of virtue, which are the objects which we are dedicating.
Tendutan namju nga kama chushi dita di gyowacho da magyowacho tso ani chikte sa da namju kadu yena mango tu se de yo kare ri sina chitang na so chik namba se ya so pe chu de so chik goyambo ani chik sanje ki chik chu chu pongbu je de je dong sina chik ta na choba ani chik tinde gyowa ani tinde tab dewo ani chik goyambo jachembo ani sembi sozo chik ta muba da samba 그 세브라단 템바게 아니 지든지 추천 mamboji yobai mare dinji 인도지 네 알세 남바세지 첨로지 dinji 자체모 mamboji 메바이 mare 대다 얘네 양양 나랑도 지금 남바래 야 쇼차도 지다고 남바기 때타오 소소기 지금 첨로데 남바이 된데 조초거리 근데 조초 말이 사양다고 때지 지 체크는 고노 세진하고 지 고요 tendice indoci sanje ke yang ten doga nang ten chutram tso pe ge chimo song yore tendice yang chutram se de lama tawa ke ya ji domba song ya te khona ka ta na marwa ta na so ji sen chama na tendice song ya ye ba yi ma de te sanje ke ma song yong ba la ba chutram te pena ta gewa cho dya ma gewa cho pa ya so yang ani ji sanje ke chutram ta 그 진리를 찾아야 봐야 말이 저 소양 양 띠니 즉 등산양 남박하시 즉배 거의 양복게 저시에나 근데 지금 남박 야쇼 저 가래세나 초반으로 정도가 대인도 진리 차송마 이마이나 즉배 남박세야 되지 대 가래세 즉 고지 제전으로 당 띠니 즉 람텀으로 매반으로 지 진리 차근 진리 임바인데 개와줘서야 되는 저 남바인데 개와줘서야 도구 그리스 개와줘서야 빵구 그리 삼바지 나서 제가 한진도 컴퓨터 차나 야고도 된데 다 되나네 된데 무슨 요리 삼전 남다 세인데 다 아니 룽아이 somewhere 개와줘 근데 삼전 마다버세 대도 도서대 마다버 때는 아니 먹여봤죠 어다 대 이거지.
So I'm always discussing these 10 virtues and non-virtues when I'm teaching Dharma. So the Buddha did teach, 84,000 heaps of Dharma, and in that he taught so many different methods to accommodate or to work with the different minds and intentions and capacities of various different beings. But the Buddha did teach some rules, and though things are not really too strict or too tight, and Buddhism generally is very kind of open and kind of a vast and open kind of tradition and world, but once you have entered into a Buddhist path, or once you have actually become a Buddhist, then the 10 virtues and non-virtues kind of become your discipline. And without those, if we did not have any kind of discipline, then it would be very difficult to have, in that tradition, we need to have some kind of limits or some kind of boundaries of conduct. And so it's not as if discipline in Buddhism is only something that is to be practiced by teachers and by monks or monastics. It is that there is some kind of discipline which applies to all Buddhists. And so these are, as long as you have become a Buddhist, you need to accomplish the 10 virtues, and you need to abandon the 10 non-virtues. These are the general disciplines of Buddhism. And so some people these days, some Buddhists these days, say that Buddhism is very open and very vast, and you can do whatever you want. But really, if that were the case, then it would be really hard there would be no kind of like guidelines whatsoever. And so really we need to accomplish these 10 virtues, abandon the 10 non-virtues. And I think it would be really good if we can really habituate ourselves to that, if that really becomes a habit for us to accomplish the 10 virtues and abandon the 10 non-virtues. And so what is being discussed here when we talk in this prayer of the pure intentions and actions of myself and all innumerable beings, that is talking of the 10 virtues of body, speech, and mind. And so for a person who wants to practice Buddhism, even people who start off as someone bad or someone who is doing bad things, a butcher or a thief, then those people also can practice Buddhism. But once they've started practicing Buddhism, then they need to be reducing their engagement in those negativities and really making some changes in their life. So thieves are allowed to practice Buddhism, right? But it's not as if Buddhists are allowed to steal. Thieves are allowed to practice Buddhism, but it's not the case that Buddhists are allowed to steal, right? And so let's say someone is a really big thief and they become a Buddhist, then they need to be stealing less and less and less and less up to the point where they can completely give up stealing. And that's what we mean by changing your life through these Buddhist practices or through Buddhism. And so these roots of virtue that we are dedicating are the roots of virtue of the 10 virtues, the 6 perfections, the 37 factors of enlightenment, and so forth. And to what are we dedicating this merit? And so as it says here, may they flow into the ocean of the Buddha's 4 kayas. And so the Buddha's 4 kayas, this ocean of the Buddhas of the 4 kayas, is the state of Buddhahood itself. So we are dedicating all these virtues for all beings to attain the state of Buddhahood. And how is it that we dedicate these? So we dedicate them, as it says, in a way which is unsullied by threefold fixation.
다 코슨 세야데 가르리시나다 다른데 베나 모와포다 모자게 게자 아니 모게 요 대선데 뉴미 시드네 다 코르선나 데머진박 로데 다 코르선 데머진박 로데 아니 코르선고 뇨바이 말이 뇨바 메바 시드네 제 코르선나 데머진박 메바 로 어다 디그만 게자테서 모고 그리스 코르선 데머 마도발로 아니 디 아니 게와테서 모고 그리스
And so what
course number tawa sintenib somni the course number tawa go is
and so what are these this threefold fixation and what does it mean to be unsullied by the threefold fixation? So threefold fixation sometimes is translated as the three spheres, and the three then are the person who is dedicating. They are the person who's dedicating, the roots of virtue which they are dedicating, and the object or the goal to which they are dedicating those virtues. And so what it means to be unsullied by threefold fixation means to not have any grasping at the true existence of any of those three things. And so the sullied or the filth of the threefold minds or the threefold thoughts is the grasping at the true reality or the true existence of those three things. That makes those thoughts dirty or sullied. And so to dedicate in a way which is unsullied by the threefold fixation means to dedicate in a way which has no grasping at the true reality of these three thoughts.
다 런진바메바 젠자 응우보 아니 젠바 동요가 아니지 된데다 마 점부도 어다 저소 된제 녀마리 somde 다 데리노 저소 된제 팀모제나 온가 젠바 동어보게 젠다 인세 나자찌 어떤데 나게 젠바 동야다 나가 응우보 인세나다 응우보에서 차지 찍지 근데 젠바 동요가 정보도 어서서 대서 방고리 삼바게야 덴제 찍제와 임바이나 통총 그 로제노 근데 근데 지금 다 짐바 밀로 세야 로조 용바가 갑서라 그 소소당 마자당 통종당 유모보다 만지버고 그리스 근데 이제 인데다 대지 짐바직 당와 임바이나야 다 마지 젠다 인삼바가 마자메바 근데 짐바 통요 그 방고리 삼바게 통총 메바 Jimba Tongia Gumubotas, young Senati and Marketing Tachamo in Samagan Zimba. But I didn't remember going to Jimba Tongo here is somebody.
And so, if we take an act of generosity, for example, in the Madhyamakavatara, it says the giver, the gift, and the object are without grasping, and from that comes the perfection of generosity. And so, to not have any grasping at oneself as the giver of an object, nor the object which you are giving, nor the person that is maybe a beggar or so forth who you are giving that to, means to have no grasping at the true reality of the three spheres or those three thoughts. Otherwise, if you have great grasping at those three things as oneself, as the generous benefactor, you think, oh, I'm a really great person for doing that. You have a pride or a grasping at that thought, so that's one level of grasping. Then you have a level of grasping at the thing that you're giving them. They're like, oh, I'm really giving you something really good here, and you have a grasping at that. And then you have a third thought of grasping, which is the grasping at that person being an impoverished person or a beggar or so forth, and you have even maybe some disparagement or looking down upon them. And so if you really want to give in a pure way, you need to have no grasping at the idea of yourself or no pride of yourself as being the giver of that object, nor should you have any kind of covetousness at the object that you're giving or some kind of reluctance or covetousness towards the object that you're giving, nor should you have the thought of the person who you're giving to or looking down upon them as someone lowly. And it is without those three things in mind that you can give in a way which is pure.
다 예네양 다 코르손 라 아니 진 뎀번 짐밤메 바킨 코르손 넘버 타와 쳇타와테 파과나나 마도바 그나서 소수지오레 용에 말에 다 예는 나소게지 다 짐템바시나 tene jita sanje da sanchu samba namji ni ji semji tonga geza kang huba na yin nga ki jang te dang ho yin sama ji tang tene ji yang khorsom ne ji denzen da so ji malam da juma ta bu kun dishi ko go ne na so ji jima tang na da ani ji tene gewa ho yin ma yin na da tene ji samo tong thoba yin ma yin na na so te kar se khorsom number ta ko jin thön ba cha tho yore.
And so, but the real purity or the real freedom from the grasping at the three spheres only really exists in the mind stream of an Arya or a noble being. That is a noble being. But as ordinary people, we can still practice in accordance with their way of practice, and that is that we should think that just as the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have practiced without any grasping at the three spheres, I'm also going to follow after them and dedicate my virtues in the same way, for example. And another way to practice is to try and see the virtues that we're dedicating and try and see those three spheres as being illusion-like or dream-like and dedicate in that way. And in that way, what we're practicing is what's called the concordant purity of the three spheres, or that which is in accordance with or follows after the authentic way of practicing without the three spheres.
Tatana yang tejenwa samjo namda kanrasi kanrasi ya korso nyomi geza chujin namsini choje ji tenen tar ane terwa jaro kuji jamso yukjorje se jamso ji shenwa tate nazo nyinga kanane ta zukjin ge pe ju de tang nyinga go ne ma ane mo yin bale pena samjo namda te pena kanra ro je des tenen geza teso 다 초대서 강의시는 다 초대서 말레비 뭐여러 어때 게자대서 주준다고 돼있어. 다들 주준된 탈토노도 장소치 모르는 법으로요. 된다고 나눠서 같이 3전 넘버 답발에 지용밖에 개와 대 전에 이제 탈토 다 초롱 참만 봐서 장소 나지 나눠서 그 탈토게 다 모자기 열 담바데 가르치는 산지지 지공방
And so in this verse then we have the snow-covered mountain, and then we have these streams of virtue unsullied, and then we have the ocean of the Buddhas of the four Kayas. And in Tibetan, the study of Tibetan poetry, they call these examples of like actual outer objects or of different forms that are symbolizing something. And so the white mountain is our pure intention, and the melting of that snow are those pure actions. And ultimately those pure virtuous actions will lead us to that ocean of the four Buddha bodies, which is the ultimate state of Buddhahood. And so first we have that pure intention, and from that we have this virtue which will ultimately lead us to that ocean of the state of Buddhahood. And those four Buddha bodies are the Dharmakaya, the Svabhavakaya, the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya.
추탐제가 내로 탈 토박이 쳔박이 시대를 죽어서 샤안 죽어서 다 아니 뭐니 그 세인데 다 산제가 두개네 다 빠와 아니 지든데 저바가 소 말을바 잘와게 차대는 아니 뭐고 되면서 대 산제 아니 저 빵도 탈심박게 차대 되는시 다 대라 아니 지 죽어서 다 되는 남주 거섬시도 죽어 나는 시해야 돼. 다 롱거 쪽에 세인데 지금 코르타발에 된 산제 롱죽족거 라 아니 같이 코르타바 산주 선반난 라 아니 된 năng 대박이 아니 지 산제 조국거 되나 아니 롱거시 되네 들자 다다 마다 같이 저바가 뭐래야 산제 나한테 디 팔바기 미나지 벤나 산제 셰거토바 다 자갈에 라 조국쪽거 거네 펜나 추중 콜로 거는 생기고 동도바이 말와 어때라니 산제 조국쪽거시 어다 거지 단도는 나텐디지 말해.
And so, in brief, these four Buddha bodies are that the Dharmakaya then is the aspect of the Buddha which is the ultimate completion of wisdom, perfect wisdom of the true nature. The Svabha, I can't pronounce this word, Svabhakakaya, is the Buddha's mind's separation from all obstruction and obscuration. It is the kind of completion of all abandonment and realization. And then the two form bodies, which are the Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya. First, the Sambhogakaya is the Buddha body that only appears to the pure disciples, that is to the Bodhisattvas. And the Nirmanakaya appears to both pure and impure disciples, and can appear in ordinary forms, such as how the Buddha came to this world in the Supreme Nirmanakaya form, Buddha Shakyamuni, and turned the wheel of Dharma. So it's good if you have just kind of a basic understanding. That's just a brief discussion of what the four Buddha bodies are.
The Tarsim Devil Mabasi that in the Saki, that's a vision or Sagamando.
Lam Punsum Sopala. So then we have some outlines here, topical outline points. So first we're going to have aspiring towards that support, which is that perfect path. And then we have the second, which is going to be aspiring towards that wisdom, which will help us to realize the path, or which is that which brings the realization of the path. And then we have that. Then we have aspiring to not have any mistakes in our traversing of the path. And then we have aspiring to completing or perfecting the path. And so the first verse here is, until that is attained throughout all births and lives, may even the words wrongdoing and suffering be unheard. May we enjoy the splendor of an ocean of happiness and virtue. So this is aspiring towards that perfect path. And so first when it says until that is attained through all births and lives, so until that is attained is referring to what was just mentioned above, which is that state of the four kayas. So until we attain that state of the four kayas, not only in this birth but in all of my births,
산지 집시 산지 공판 마토고 발다 다소 샘지 단지 제와네 체럽 단지 또 되니 jö드바 다 먹여 줬다 되니 다 드바 신 제바 동ар다 멘로라 소바다 되니 아니 집 샘디기 라양 아니 집 나소다 콜바 동하여라 되니 jö드바 다 뉴몽바 제바 티치바 기타 멘로다 아니 집 되니 콜바 동하 다자요 마다 then dege saying that Jeva Devare, then Torika Devare Nari, Tato Sanjika Devare Nari, Senda the Devi Nari. What a tea jote and it that the Gawai Maris. Then the Dege Jamsupal Tober shows in the Manta.
And so may even the words wrongdoing and suffering be unheard. And so wrongdoing then is the cause of suffering. Those are the causes which are, for example, like the 10 non-virtues. And the results of those 10 non-virtues are the suffering, or the results of these wrongdoings, as it says in the text, are suffering. Those are the sufferings both of this life and the sufferings of the lower realms of future lives. And so may those words not even be heard. But may we enjoy the splendor of an ocean of happiness and virtue. And again, happiness and virtue are cause and effect. Virtue, that is the practices of virtue, then, are the causes of happiness. Those are the happinesses, again, of this life, or the samsaric happiness, as well as the attainment of higher realms or higher states in future lives. And so it says, may we enjoy then the splendor of an ocean of happiness and virtue. So these types of aspirations are really important because, we don't even need to mention how terrible the sufferings of the hell realms are. They're so great that, they're intolerable. But even if we're not born into such a situation, some people, just by the force of their past karmic propensities and so on, are born into very impoverished lands where they can't even find food and drink and may even die from famine and so forth. And even if it's not such a dire circumstance or such a terrible situation, some are born in, places of conflict where they experience all kinds of sufferings. And even if not that such a great suffering, people are born into a family that has a lot of great problems, where they have a lot of sickness. And so there are all kinds of suffering situations that we could be born into. Or otherwise, you could also be born into born with a propensity towards those above mentioned negative actions, such as being a butcher or a thief, someone who just engages in non-virtuous behavior. And so we need to make these aspirations that from now until we attain Buddhahood, that we will not be born into such a negative place or into a bad home or with a bad family. And it's not like it's our choice where we'll be born in the future. It's coming because of the power of our karma. And so we need to make aspirations and prayers then that we will not be born into these kind of impoverished places and places of conflict and fighting.
아니 제 담을 추던 제바 아니 제 텐디 다 대진 부선 소바 대지 요대 바겠다 아니 텐디를 제 영화 대양다 쏜놈리샤 텐디 제 이메이드 맞어 다다네 제 텐디 만남 잡아 임바이나 다네 만남 세야 되네 추는 담지 진인데 눈버째다 라트네 강금 만남 제다번 레버데다 멤버 주시는 산지에게 만남 가래지 땄네요 아니 저 만남 그 생각던 또 누가게는 만남던 로그리스 라버데 티 체버 파워건 되나 저 만남 따바이나 research in choosing to develop and how to somebody choosing chepan power. That they may buy in a Tarikon Shiva, Dungeon Nankalaji, Lama, Yadam Sanji Sanchu, somebody that Dungeon Nankala gone, and so get you they bottom. I need to move this Chewaka gone, Manata by Mayana, Manantazo, Dria by Madi.
And so some people then are also born into very peaceful and comfortable places, and they have an abundance of joy and happiness and comfort, and that is their merit. That's coming from their merit. And so we should make prayers that to be born in such a way. And the Buddha has said that all things are conditions and they abide on the point of your intention. And so whatever type of aspirations you put your mind to, whatever you aspire towards, that will come to fruition. And so
research in shooting from dealership and how when drops.
Okay.
Research in the monocarate
And so the Buddha also said that if you can make aspirations between a very powerful support, such as a stupa that enshrines the Buddha's relics, then that will be accomplished, certainly will be accomplished. But even if you can't find such a powerful place to pray before, to act as a support of your prayer, then you can do what we discussed earlier, which is to visualize that field of merit, that field of accumulation before you, and with a single-pointed faith and devotion, make your aspiration, and that aspiration will be fulfilled.
아니 띵단라고지 고그리시 다테나 투모마 임발을 환남신 만바시 데라 담전 축도 대존 시럽 진이상데 담도 주던 수진 돌라 파티 만치바 새롭건도 담주 쪽으로 송말해.
And so that first aspiration was a general aspiration with a general support for that aspiration to not be born into a negative place or to be born into a place of suffering, but to take birth into some kind of positive place without suffering and with some kind of comfort and joy. And now the next part is a particular, very specific type of aspiration, which is an aspiration to bring about that support for accomplishing the Mahamudra. And so this is a more particular one where it says then, acquiring the best leisure and resources, may we have faith, diligence, and wisdom. Relying upon good spiritual friends and receiving the essence of the instructions, may we practice them properly without obstacle. In all our lives, may we practice genuine Dharma.
tatela thoma ani damjun choktok tejun shirabdin tinbe songde ta chudroba ka tin tela tani nyami tabor moche ka thadin ga nam ani lukatin tela ani che lu damjun ni samgatin tela ani teba number son sin tinbe song yore tende ta dar jur seyate ani ta tanda ni ta dar seyate ani che khomba yoba ka tanda rawa tende che chudroba ki la mokomba meba mokomba ne jele pa tan ani che chudroba ki ani che kokabyo ba chudroba la longyo ba ani te tendila ani ta tarwa se tende bishi yore ta te rakwa ga gone bishi ende ta tamjur je sena ani gomala ro ka nyarwa yeda tondo ta lalo tsara lata na nota sanje jidong kumbanda da magomchi je sena da te nyarwa la soba ka mokomba ne jele je soma yimbai na so chudroba ki ani kokabyo ma de tende ta te chudroba ki gachi ani mokomba ne jele tan tele tan ani tele ka na so ku ludin te tarwa je 창대바 그 주딘달라 아니 담ጆ를 끝났는데 다와 그 물류스는 되는
And so the first, when it says acquiring the best leisure and resources, may we have faith, diligence, and wisdom. So first, in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation of the peerless Dakpo Rinpoche Karmapa, he says that there are two supports. There's a mind support and a body support. And the body support is the leisure and resources. And the mental support is the three types of faith. And so when we talk about leisure and resources, first, leisure means to have time to do something or to be free, to basically to have time. And so what that means then is that you are free from these 8 states of non-leisure or non-freedom. And if you are free from those, then you have the leisure. And so Nagarjuna listed those 8 as hell, the Preta realms, the animal realms, the long life gods, barbarians, wrong view, I know them all, but it's hard to, I'm reciting in Tibetan and then translating into English. Yeah, so a place without Buddhas, being of incomplete faculties, and that's 8. Yeah. That's and so then having those 8 freedoms, and then in addition to that we have what's called the 10 resources. And so the 10 resources, we have 5 which are fulfilled by oneself and 5 which are fulfilled by some outer circumstances. And so the 5 that are fulfilled by others are that the Buddha is there, or the Buddha has come, the Buddha has given teachings, the teachings still exist and people are still engaging in those teachings, and then the 5th is that you are held by some spiritual master.
Was it? Sanjesong. Oh, mani.
So you are a human. So these are the 5 that are fulfilled for yourself. You are a human. You're born in a central land. You have all of your faculties intact. You have not engaged in any extreme bad karmas, and you have faith in the teachings.
Television to so mambo ta goyan to tane coffee shop to so nan to so mambo tong nan so ta keja chik tin mambo shen ta mo man ne mambo yoris.
So probably most of us are actually
so tarwa je top the yoris. Yena tanong ngarang so mo kombo mambo dos.
And so I think probably most of us actually fulfill these 18 and these 8, particularly these 8 types of leisure. But these days there are a lot of other aspects of like a lack of freedom or a lack of time, such as all of us spending so much time playing with our phones and watching television and going to the coffee shop and talking. These are more states of non-leisure, or things which are keeping us from that leisure of the Dharma.
Tane deba sayadata tabor moje somanaji any chudrobala any something deba number some senate somayore. That deba number some city ye keep it deba, doba deba, dama deba, deba number some year.
And so then that mental support for practicing Dharma, as Dakpo Rinpoche Karmapa has said, is that threefold faith. And the threefold faith is the faith of belief, the faith of longing or the longing faith and pure faith.
딱 공대시밖에 이제 담조 쪽이 상대가 임바이네요. 이제 대바 매바 임바이나 되는 것도 취도 접토야 말이지. 되는 이제 인도다 대바 요거지. 다 대바 세야 돼. 되는 이제 까보 개ව 상대다 탐 이게 이제 이전으로 된지 차도요. 가제 니다 대바 매나 도가는 되는 소문도 대바 매바 만나나 까보 상 매제데 상 매서 와라 뉴뭐 지진노 세나 다 대바도 미성나 디 아니 담조 쪽에 톱도 요나야 되게 줄라 아니 까보 개와게 취 투상고 놀라서 볼게 취 법정의 냐니 용 말이지 배자 하는 가서 내당 제라고 그 상으로 매체 송아지 심각 간데 야고지 요 담셔와 임바에는 되는 요 제임도 되는데 다 대바도 미는 담조 쪽에 참바에나야 고쳐요 말이지.
And so, even if we have those above mentioned 18 freedoms and resources, or leisure and resources, if we don't have faith, then those 18 are not really helpful. They don't really get us anywhere. And as it says in the sutra, people who have no faith, in people with no faith, none of the wholesome virtues will arise. Just like a seed which has been burned by fire will not give rise to a green sprout. And so even if we have all of these 18 above mentioned qualities, if we don't have faith, then we will not engage in or will not accomplish any of these practices of hearing, contemplation, meditation, and so forth. So just like the example, if you have a seed of barley or rice or whatever, no matter how good your soil is in your fields, if your seed is burned, then no matter how good the field is, no matter how rich the soil is, it won't give rise to crops.
그 공기 가리서 온 도시나 다 너소부터 시랍이야 본 도시 거기서 배 법정을 가온 도시 상호동이었다 로야 주니나 람상 거기서 고알린 더 도시 또 얘네 거기서 시랍이야 봐 대밤에 버리셨어 대밤도 시랍은 도시 거기서 대밤도 시랍지 또 다 양 샤소반다고 얘는 대밤배야 본 도시 거기서 야지 대밤이야 본 도시 얘는 거기서 양 시랍 teni siara tisamo tongyan daw tang lobjang seyan daw teni sirap te ya no soba na ji ma do gam to teni ta deba de sirap kan no mi na chu ya bo cha tho ma do ne ti ka tsemo le o ta sha so da no so ni nyam de ten da nyam je zo thon ya bo do si teni lam nyam yo si teni de chi deba se ya da ha je ki che mo de sha teni nga lo she teng sang te se no soba teni ha ko de 너 소박이 지금 남관님 같아서 가실 때 받아서 할래야 여보도 근데 할래야 여보도 얘는 째오는 시에인데 즉 대바세야 돼 고소도 갈래 가본다 되는 님만 양디 나 자하니 깨주지 되는 요새 가드이나 자가 가나왕 첨보에나 된데 놓으셔본다 대초 맨시요 고소 깨주지 디 인지 여보 시대 바지 그 다시 좀 서자야 그 아시죠 지금 랩상로 코왕 첨보 가완 도시나 코 로쇼 네, 저 가르치 노데 이제 그 린지 텐조 가시 바이오는 슈다 드라도는 린지 텐조 나가도 코 드나 쇼는 로인 라 네, 저 린지 텐조 제 톱처럼다가 저 가르치 로인 라냐 다 코도 그네 제 대바드 야보지 제로즈 하면도 야보지 제로즈 하면도 대바드 야보지 제 마토베 임바이는 취냥이 야보지 작으면도 냠니 근데 왕망보지 시바이나 그 대화도 야보지 제 탐난산 되는 노데스 근데 준진 매바지 리면도 삼서 그 대화세다 하게 기체 모르겠어.
And so I think I've told this story before sometime, and maybe I'll remind you of it now by telling it again. And so, quite a while ago, I have an acquaintance who was traveling a lot all around giving Dharma teachings. And I asked him, what's the difference, in your opinion, what's the difference between, Easterners and Westerners? And he said, Westerners have really good intelligence, really good wisdom. They like to read books, they like to think about things, they like to make distinctions and, really look into things, but they don't really have very good faith. And he said that Westerners have really strong faith, really great faith, but not really great wisdom. They don't really like to think about things or study too much. And Easterners, sorry, yes. He said, but they don't really have the same kind of interest or the same kind of wisdom that Westerners do. Easterners don't. And I was joking around. I said, we need to really bring those together. We need to equalize those two attitudes. And, also one time when I was in India, there was one translator who I met, and he was traveling all over the place, going wherever there was an empowerment, he was going to receive those empowerments. And he had already received the treasury of revealed teachings, the Rinchen Terdzu, in Nepal, and he was going again to Dehradun to receive the same empowerments again. And I said, why are you going all over the place? Why, you already received Rinchen Terdzu once, why are you going again? And he said that I have a problem with faith. I don't have very strong faith. And so I think if I keep going and receiving these empowerments, it can help me to generate faith. And I thought that that's not really meaningless. That's actually helpful. That is meaningful. So faith is extremely important. That's the point.
근데 단 녀미 답을 뭐지 그 달리는 거는 추도바가 띵데라 류가 띵의 담절 쪽에 참고 그래. 다 생그 띵데라 대반 넘버선 요 그래. 답을 뭐지 되는 송해요.
And so Dakpo Rinpoche Karmapa says in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation that the supports for practicing the Dharma are the physical or body supports of having these 18 factors complete, the 18 leisures and resources, as well as having the mental support of having these threefold faith.
Then the 대반 number some say인데 담보 이치부 대발에 되네 탈법 평용 코르님의 되네 레좀데 제왕한스 뭐 딘디를 이치바 되라네 이치부 대바스 담보 많이 대요거 봐요.
And so with the three faiths, then the first, that is the faith of belief, means to have a real belief and a trust in the benefits of liberation, the faults of samsara, the process of karmic cause and result in past and future lives.
Then it number the show on low niche some jay. Then it took a Jewang Hamster, that's all candid, that's all candid. Jewang Hamster, the Ichi Yaga. Go, just a jay Ichi, you love Tom, though. I think so loud.
Now, so a couple years ago, I was here in Toronto and I met some guy who was a Buddhist, and he had been Buddhist for 20 or 30 years. And I asked him, what do you think about past and future lives? Do you believe in that? He said, I think so. He couldn't say with 100% certainty. So this faith of belief is extremely important.
무바다 쪼와다 아니 지 딘딜로제 무지에 왔다 저소다 아니 당황하게 돼봐.
And pure faith is just kind of knowing the qualities of the three jewels and having some real enthusiasm, some real devotion towards that.
저는 더버 대바세는 다 타도 건조고 연대에서 란줄을 토반다고 로요고 그러는 산지제 공방 아니 지취 랑규를 냐서는 토바 아니 지 텐디기 근den데서 아니 지다 아마 기브신이는 너는 아니 지 건조선에서 란줄을 토반다고 다 타바 토반다고 로나고 되나 아니 더버 대바 신는데 무슨 일이 되는데 다 추더바가 선디나 버선 세대송이 되는데 이 사기 만한 거 나네요. 사대 좀 냐서는 렘버 세바라 되니 류를 담조 쪽에 참대바 선대바 너무 소유고 뭐 진짜 가자지기 사대 좀 냐서는 특별히.
And so the faith, longing faith then is the faith which, wishes to attain those ultimate qualities for oneself, to really bring those qualities into one's own mind stream through relying upon a spiritual teacher and putting these things into practice. And it's essentially the mind that wishes for or strives for liberation. So in this prayer, then, it's saying that for a person, or for the supports for a person who wishes to practice Mahamudra, are these 18 factors of leisure and resources, in addition to the threefold faith, these 3 factors of mind. And a person who has those will be able to practice Mahamudra. And so then, in addition to these above-mentioned qualities, it says now that we need diligence. So without diligence, we'll just fall into laziness. And the Buddha said that for a person with no diligence will not be able to accomplish any dharma. And so we need to have these qualities of leisure and resources. In addition, we need faith, and then it said we need diligence. And generally, when we talk about diligence, what we mean is actually enthusiasm towards virtue. And so we need to have some real faith in, or enthusiasm towards virtue. Otherwise, what happens then, we also have kind of 2 types of diligence. One is having real respect for these teachings and practices. And the other one is to really have a continuous engagement of the practice. And so what that means then is that some people will be very enthusiastic and work very hard for 1 day of practice or 1 week of practice, and then just kind of fall off from that. And so they might practice all day really hard for 1 day, and then in the 2nd and 3rd day not do any virtuous practice whatsoever. But what we need is a practice that is continuous without interruption, like a stream. And so even if we're not able to do a very extensive practice or a very ambitious practice every day, we need to be able to have a continuous practice that's unbroken. And there's a very particular power that comes from that, and that is the power of habituation, or the power of really becoming familiar with your practice. And so it's said then that all qualities come from diligence and come from or follow after your diligence.
when I get some more shiba mambo to the love the Nimare, which is to some mambo de ratoya marita, Karmachonga, though which gum down pay of those. The Karmachonga, the Nimare jab to buy Mayina. Then Nineka Soso, which some come to so new radio for Toya. And it Nimare region and it gets sent to Jim Rova. Then young Nimare so that you go sent to my Kujum of Shiva Yom Toba. Chip tenditi pento tenditi mambuji yoba yindu then maso chip ma jensen yat kuchimo dendo siten sie de yo tate neshe shaba mari de zundu sayate tada kondi sheba na yi je de gewa la tuwa yo gondo zundu sayate ya mi khaje denendo zundu sayate pe ocho chawon ro ko hondo wa samgo tengni soso de muba de tuwa yo bo lam ma to bese yena chi ocho khona song de ba chakwa yimba yena tate ko zundu 차게요. 말소 난주가 난 버릇을 맞도 당시에 저 zundu 차게요. 개와 가래진 남반농 난다 검전 난다 아니 나서 그 추다지 진이세 바에 난다 가래지 예매인 다모 아니 zun간 개를 쪼아오 시도 전조가 나네 zundu세가 진이시인데 쪼아다 개와를 쪼아가 로제 zundu시라고 이래. 다티 개와를 쪼아가 로테 되는 대양 녀마체를 대반다고 녀마체를 미 대반다고 된디 많이 봐. Any ma tabjur gogolis, do tabati, Jumati, Montoya the kitchen models, Teresundo.
And so we shouldn't, some people when they're practicing, even just a change in the weather from day to day can throw them off their practice, and we need to not be like that, but we need to have a continuity, unceasing continuity to our practice. So some people will practice for one day for 3 hours, they'll meditate for 3 hours, and then the other 6 days of the week they won't practice at all. But otherwise, if you were to take that 3 hours from one day and divide that time into how much time it would be, the 3 hours divided by 7 days, and practice a little bit every day, that daily practice of a little bit every day would bring a much greater benefit than the practice of 3 hours in one day. And so I'm often telling people this, that this is important. The continuity of practice is important. And that you need to really get a familiarity with the practice, which comes from that continuity. And and this isn't just something that I'm saying. This is something that is a basic explanation of diligence, of that the diligence of continuity, of continuous practice. And so it's said in the Bodhicharyavatara that diligence is enthusiasm and virtue. And a lot of people misunderstand what we say by diligence, and they think diligence is just stubbornly kind of forcing yourself to practice, even if you don't have enthusiasm about it. So some people aren't even happy or joyful or enthusiastic about doing the practice, but they just stubbornly push themselves to practice. And that is not diligence as described in the perfection of diligence as far as the paramitas and so forth is concerned in a Dharma explanation. And so whether we are practicing meditation or whether we are practicing studying the Dharma, whatever it is, we need to have that enthusiasm towards the Dharma. And so it's something that it's not like, some people have an enthusiasm one day and then they don't have it the next day. And we need to avoid that, but need to really have that enthusiasm, which is a continuity, or which is continuously involved and continuously maintaining a continuity of practice.
Tane shirab din sumari ta ti tang kare yo gorisena ta mazo chudo barse bate pe shirab te kichi moi mare ta shirab sidu tene che landor kane soso den jeba kane che churab nam ji shirab o terewa chudan che ne sortan han sorta soso den ji jeba kane che soso to ba ki soso jeba ke churab nam ji shirab sinda tene mare tene shirab ta ha kichi mores.
And then in addition to that, we also need wisdom. And so that wisdom is extremely important. That wisdom is the wisdom to be able to discern what we should be doing and what we should be avoiding. It is the wisdom to discern what is the way things appear and how is it that they actually exist and so forth. The really discriminating wisdom, which can tell one thing from another, and that's extremely important.
Dati yang shirab tzo ngarang tzo chi tuba ta samba ta gombala so shirab chi mambu ji ye ndorna ta chi chute so landor kne so hakko tungi ani chi tindri ki shirab te yogo de.
So there are many explanations of wisdom, the wisdoms of hearing, contemplation, meditation, and so forth. But in brief, we need to be able to understand wisdom in terms of what we should be doing and what we should be avoiding.
때때나 나저 담점 물리야 더 안에 대반 넘버 소면요 안에 존류야요 시럽게요 다 디조라 다 가려고 그랬어 그래서 사제 전문 양들린 거나 다 아니지 라마 게비시니 아니 체다된 바지 띵고 그랬어 진이 장디 시테니 somles.
And so now we have, if we have these leisure and resources, and in addition we have faith, diligence, and wisdom, then what else is it that we need? We need to have an authentic spiritual master.
냐미 다보를 뭐지가 다진 거 나는 가래송 요리시나 다 산이네 추드반도나 다 드렌주 레가 다 가래 레고 그러시나 라마 게비시니 띵고 그리 something som요.
So in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, Dr. Rinpoche Karmapa says that if you want to practice Dharma tomorrow, what is it that you need today? You need a spiritual master.
다나진 산제기야 아니 다나진 송요리 아니 지 산제의 공부 도반도나 담보 가리서 거리시나 담보 아니 게비시니 양다 바지 띵고 그리 something somles.
And the Buddha has said the same thing, that if you want to attain liberation, the first thing you need to do is to rely upon a spiritual master.
근데 다다데 타진 거 나네 아니 진 게비시니 지나니 추드바게 진 도로 조도 가리리시나 아니 게비시니 띵고 그리 somale.
And in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, it said that the condition that you have to rely upon in order to attain Buddhahood is that reliance upon the spiritual master.
가르치는 때 게비신이 띵고 그러시는다 게비신이 양다고 하지 마딘베이 메이나 되는 거는 저기 완자 더과 가래 하모 아니 지때 더자 게와 가래 하모 다때 더바빵 게와 더 아니 된지 간데지 조고 와 그래야 하고 되게 말이 되는데 지 투상 건종 거 연대 참 되게 게비신이 띵는 좋은 거요리 되는다 게비신이 띵고 그래 somebody.
And why is it that we need to rely upon a spiritual teacher or spiritual master? Because if we don't rely upon them, we won't know what are these negativities or misdeeds which we should be avoiding. We won't know what are the virtues that we should be accomplishing. And so we, all of the positive qualities that arise from hearing, contemplation, and meditation on the teachings all come from reliance upon the spiritual teacher.
라버다 아니 지 사제 전부 써야 돼. 다지 라마 게비시니 게 아니 지 근데 세나 소소기 지 대바다 무 람 세나 어다 대코나데 때는 이 사제 전부가 또 바데 줄이 지 타고 요리 돼. 라마 써야다 하 게 전부지 숨어요리.
Particularly within the Mahamudra, it is because of the blessings of the spiritual master and your own faith and devotion, only from that combination that you will attain realization of Mahamudra, and that's again why the spiritual master is so important.
근데 대중 걸로 끝나네. 무릎 높은 진단서 숨바리 되는데 사제 전부 조금 무릎 그래서 아니 다다다네 노조 높은 게비시니기 세나다 당마 대기 지선장도 요리 대요는 여봐 대민은 매봐 어때 대르뚜데 라레도 여봐리 되는 성 요리 다만이 아니 쥐다관 니바가 나네 인지 주미 따니 여러 쥐다관 인지 주미 생직지 강도 양는 미니데 라면 대답된 바탕 다 순나 레시사 somne 쥐도 매번 생직지바기 니 사제 전부가 이 시대 라마기 지 탑다 당마 소소고 순나 어찌 대르티는 사제 제목 따와데 똑바데 줄이 제고 그리 somde 되는데 사제 제목 가는 다 라마게시니 그래서 하장 그 기침물에.
And so in the Kala Chakra, it says that the accomplishment of the Supreme City follows after your reliance upon the spiritual master, upon the Vajra, the Dorji Lopan. And so if you have that reliance and that blessing of the spiritual master, then you will attain the city, and without them you cannot. And similarly, in the two examinations, it says that in order to attain that changeless, innate primordial wisdom, then you need the methods and pith instructions of the teacher together with your own faith and devotion, and that's how you can attain that. And so that's why in this tradition, especially in the Mahamudra tradition, why the spiritual master is so important.
근데 난 신이 되래 신이 장대인 성도가 되는데 양 신이 되래 양 아니 제 라마 senida demba ani je gebishini ya kuchela tene ten go de somade ten de chadang gebishini se ya yang ta ko manji ro ten de gebishini na zambo yore ten de yang memba yang yore ten de je ta lama je senida demba je lama de ten go de is.
And so again it says here relying upon good spiritual friends. And so what that means is that they should be an authentic teacher that has all of these appropriate characteristics, because spiritual teacher is just a word. Spiritual friend, spiritual master is just a name. And so there are good ones and there are bad ones, and you need to rely upon a good one who has all of these complete characteristics, or who is an authentic teacher. And particularly in the Mahamudra tradition, for receiving these pith instructions on the nature of mind and so forth, you need to have a teacher who actually carries the real blessings of a lineage, and that has to be an authentic spiritual master.
Onata laman senida dembasina ta kandeje gogurisina ta ane dode jinga nang soma na jinde sini shege nyege tojo ba yonde lapor chunje long so teni rapta nal teni rapta chejen nage ba chebe dani jongar pangna tin sin teyo teni sini nyege to jini shege to nyege ba se tambo gebishini tela 소소 지 초참기 아니 지 라바기 룽아기 아니 디 좁아서 마 들어와요 그거래 들어와 근데 샤와스인데 지 뜨는쟁기 근데 지 곤냐니기 아니 지 sem주도 마 셔대 봐 근데 시랍 라바가 냐니기 아니 지 주다 아니 녀월 셔와 아니 지 시랍 저대 봐 어떤데 그거래 담보 라바서 뭐 윤디 줄이요 대바지.
So what is meant when we say
라바서 뭐 윤디 텔티나 lunga trova semchewa shirap nevarchewa ani jorde.
And so what is meant then by an authentic master, or a master who has these pure characteristics, or the authentic characteristics? So it's as said in the Mahayana Sutra Lankara, they say that the spiritual master has these qualities of being tame, being peaceful, and being thoroughly peaceful. And so they are tamed. They are tamed through the practice of the supreme, by the supreme training in discipline, and their minds are pacified by the superior training in meditative concentration, and they are thoroughly pacified. That means that their minds are liberated through the superior training in wisdom. So through their practices of the three higher trainings, or the three superior trainings of discipline, meditative concentration, and wisdom, their minds become trained or tame, pacified, and thoroughly pacified, meaning that they are liberated.
Tendeta labasong yundi juli dinde batiten na yundin lakpar sina ani rane labaki ani je denusong yundi tan dorwa dode mambala soba ani je yundi rane lawa de ani je ma loma te da tangil tsewa go ne loma jisu zong na ani je tinde denusong ge chu ma she shiba keba ge yundi tinde go gris.
And so they And so they have these qualities of the practices of the three trainings. And another point that's given in this Mahayana Sutra Lankara is that they should have qualities which are superior to your own. And so they should have thorough knowledge of the Tripitaka, that is the three baskets of scripture, of the Vinaya or sutra, discipline sutras or discipline text, the sutra text, as well as the Abhidharma text. They should also care for their students with love. They should take care of or care for those students out of love, and that they should know and be very accomplished and be able to explain all of these scriptures. And one of the other qualities then is that they should never feel disheartened or tired by helping others. They should never feel like giving up on helping others or discouraged by helping others. And so I didn't enumerate these particularly, but there are 10 qualities of what makes up an authentic spiritual master, which are listed in the Mahayana Sutra Lankara.
Tadi yundin lapor zonji sitin vishe ndu tan lama te la yang ta rabi ba yena tani te yundin malu ba changde ba jung chama me ba ji yu go bi yor te ta te khabu yin ba tan sang tu ta yena ni ji jung da yundin ni te lama te yundin ma ma jung nyong ma ta te te ji go bu de si te ndu ji ta lama ni tambo lama ta la ke ba ba de lama tin na ke ba ba de tama lama ga gung ju la la na ke ba si And
so one of the lines in that Mahayana Sutra Lankara says that that they should have these superior qualities, and in the best way that means that they should have all qualities and have extinguished all of their faults. But it's quite difficult to find someone like that in this age. But in brief, they should have more qualities than faults. And so there are many ways taught about how to rely upon a spiritual teacher. And in brief, first, in the beginning, you should be skilled in examining the teacher. In the middle, you should be skilled in relying upon that teacher. And in the end, you should be skilled in actually like taking on the conduct of that teacher, or actually modeling yourself in the conduct of that teacher.
Then Tawaga Yoda, Karego Grisina, that get Lama Givishini, then Dambutu told somebody, that Dambutu told Sunday, that the Lamagan then Tananzo with him, got you to ya, I need you one on some share, I need you Dambutu, that to some goes say, I want now to give the Sadia when Yamsal by Bayina, till Langhundone, then music and but so, that Lamagan then Damak, you to some Tobarsico Grace.
And so then we need to, once we have relied upon this teacher, we need to attain the real essence of their teachings. And so that can be receiving the empowerments, reading transmissions, and explanatory teachings. And it can be practiced in terms of hearing, contemplation, and meditation, and particularly in the Mahamudra tradition that contains receiving and practicing the practices going all the way from the Ngondro, preliminary practices, all the way into the actual main practices of Mahamudra.
Then the Tsuji Drola say at the young, Goya by the Tsuji Drola saying the Tamazo Lama Tin, Lama Gandeni Chusha, Lama Gintan, so the Landorgane, the Nijita, Dama La Sobama, Namundu, Naranzo Yan, the Haza with Golo Tulo says Yasha by Mayana, that's all the paint out of your mind. Then the Tsuji Drop, then Lama Gima, Song Baka Chute. Then so and Yamson go this. Then Yamson Malam by Mayana, Lama Gandani, Chu Mambuto by Mayana young. Then answer with you, trot to be a paint out of your Then the Turji don't go this.
And so that was the end, receiving the essence of their instructions. The next it says, may we practice them properly. And so if we receive all of these instructions, we hear what we're supposed to be doing, what we're not supposed to be doing. And we just leave it at, oh, well, I heard those teachings, and we just leave it at that, then those teachings are not going to be able to liberate us, and they're not going to be beneficial. We need to actually put them into practice accordingly as we have heard them. So we really need to put them into practice. Without practicing them, even if we receive many, many instructions, they will not be able to liberate us and will not really be beneficial.
Mi tokwa ni chi sin yoba changi kocho yo mari sin de san tene ne sozo chi ta de khoba tokwa la soba ki ni chi ti jiba la soba ki dongha de sigo ge yoris ta mi tokwa chi yo tene sama yoba changi ko ja so
So Milarepa
sin de san tene ne sozo ki chi tinde jikom zo ma sigo yoris pe te na ji Chu Shiba Zanga, Chu Niti Tuba Zanga paint all your voice. Answer Chu my Shiba, 추 투바 가래 가제제 시 가제제 투바 임바이네요. 대단히 이제 간톡 저톡 기타 맞고 그때 냥이 고그레스.
So Milarepa said that a hungry person just having food, just having that food isn't sufficient. They have to actually eat it once they have it. And so, and only by eating it will they actually alleviate their hunger. And so, similar to that example, we shouldn't just leave teachings at having heard them. Just hearing them isn't helpful, but we actually need to put them into practice as to the best of our abilities.
라버드 집 담아 가지바 세인데 아니 냥니 드버 가버 가지바 시데 그 주치시 아니 직다 드버 냥니 조나키 데르니 직다 가지 그마 주바 신한테 무슨해야래 데는데 다 진하소키 직 사자 제목이 아니 직데 문로예난다 의예예난다 아니 직 랑거바 다 가레지 도바이마이네야 데니 소소기 직 강토도 강톱지도 그거네 데니 아니 소소의 sem주도 잘 아니 직 냠슬리 딘디도 띠나 딘 소소그 주다니 제 잠베 칼리콜이 사제 제목을 또 같이 그리스 딘도 출진 록 그리스.
And so in particular in the Kagyu lineage is a practice lineage. And so from the practices of the preliminaries all the way into the actual main practices, all the way from the preliminaries of Ngondro, whatever you have received, you need to put into practice as best you can. And then, gradually, step by step, you will eventually attain the realization of Mahamudra. And some people think that because the Kagyu lineage is the practice lineage, that they absolutely don't need to do any kind of study in terms of hearing and contemplating the teachings. But as we will hear below further in this text, first we need to hear the teachings and contemplate them and put them into practice.
출진 도버세바 데나 아니 다 파제 메바고 만나자고 요리 파제 만치바 숨마디 다 파제 세디 서기지 다다 나서지 사제 메롱라서 바기 종화지기 파제 데네 남 데네 제 류간나차 아니 제 생기 동할 다나 이기 아니 제다 소소기 뉴몽당 아니 제 데네 다 데네 남도 다 파테면서 추도발 이 몸보여라 봐 어때는
And then it says also without obstacles, so we're also praying to be free from obstacles. And so those obstacles can come in various forms of outer obstacles, of disturbances of the four elements of earth, water, air, and fire, or inner obstacles such as sicknesses of the body, mental sufferings, afflictive emotions, disturbing thoughts, and so forth. There are many types of adverse circumstances or obstacles that can come up. So we pray to be free from obstacles. And so here first we pray for to attain these leisure and resources, to have faith, diligence, and wisdom, and then to rely upon a good or authentic spiritual friend. Relying on them, we should receive the essence of their instructions. Having received those instructions, we should put them into practice properly and be without obstacles. And then we pray that we will be able to practice that Dharma in all of our lives. And we pray to all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to make that so.
지금 십전으로 세는 때 시유스 근데 저 참아게 지다 근데 처리래라는데 고와사모 아니 지금 내가 전부 근데 여기 근데 이제 저 참아게 근데 때서 법량조 또 봐이마이나 그래서 아니 저 투상검선 세는 이제 근데 양朋友的 소양 선좀 잡아요 말에 근데 다가 나 이제 그 소속의 시럽당 로직의 소양 아니 저 야되는 로그레스.
And so we're going to stop the morning session here. And I ended up going into a lot of explanation of the individual words here, and that may have kind of been tiresome. But really, when you're studying the Dharma, it's really important to understand because each and every word is very meaningful. And when you're studying the teachings, then it's really important to know these words and to study this in terms of hearing, contemplation, and meditation. There are unimaginable benefits to studying in this way, and that's why I've done this, and this will help to increase your wisdom and your understanding.
제가 나제 발라 주바 예시베 처베 주바 주